Hey everybody, it's Lebo with Lebo's Pinball back here on Sluggin Champ. A little more work on this game. If you watched the last episode, I called that was like the episode of OCD because I kept jumping around from one thing to another thing to another thing, and nothing totally just buttoned up and tied up and done. And I hate to tell you guys, but it's a little more of the continuation of the same thing. We got a lot of stuff. There's some parts I'm still waiting on to show up, some decisions to be made on a few things. But in the meantime, can kind of go ahead and jump in on some other areas, and just stuff that I know I can do, and then just be done with it. So we were looking like down at this area last time, looking at the shooter rod. We cleaned up this whole ball lift, the flipper buttons. So this one I have not taken out yet, and the other one I did take out, and I did clean up that one on the left. But looking at seeing about maybe I can't get the actual original ones that were there, but there are like a red, I think it's anodized, or it's a red coated button that did come in a lot of the Gottlieb games in the 50s and 60s. I've ordered some to try them out, see what they look like here instead of using these plastic orangish reddish ones, and to see if they'll fit, see if they'll go in, because they might. And I actually ordered up enough to where if I wanted to polish out that red and then just make them silver, I could do that too. Um, so we're kind of waiting on that for now until we can be done with those. Um, but one thing I noticed still in this area, I noticed that this apron, this one's bad. I've got a new one. It's underneath all this whole mess of parts here. It's all being flattened out because it came in a tube all curled up. And when you put it in, you got to cut actually little slots here so that you can fit the instruction cards in. But it'll be nice to have a fresh piece in here that replaces torn stuff. But over here, balls played. I don't have new plastic inserts. You can't. I mean, they're basically just kind of like ordinary playfield inserts in a way. Um, but to get to those bulbs, like, okay, well, how do you get to them? So there you go. Sorry if I lost you there for a minute. Okay, here's where all the lights are. But if you notice, they're all screwed in, and you got staples on the wire that goes across. So I think to actually get to those bulbs, I'm going to have to do a little bit of surgery and just take it out, um, and then just put them back in. Those bulbs, they may have never been replaced. Um, Surprised they've lasted that long. But if they have, you have to get back in there and staple that. I guess you have to. You don't really have to staple that now. Think about it. So I mean, because you got all these screws that are holding it all together. I'm not really sure why that's really necessary. Other places I can see where it is, but here not so much. So let's go ahead and tackle that and get that done out of the way. Move that flipper switch out of the way. It's just over there. Just got that out of the way so I can get access to that. And first thing I looking at these staples a little closer, and I've not cut those. Those were already cut by someone else. So that clearly answers the question. Someone's been in there before, which honestly I was going to be really surprised because they're actually not burnt out. They're just kind of dim, and having those incandescent bulbs, they get hot and they're right there behind those inserts. So uh, they've kind of yellowed out a little bit, but we're going to put LEDs in there, make it look a little better. But I'm going to go ahead and just remove what's left over of these staples. They're not doing anything. They're not doing anything now, and it really kind of proves the point where you don't need them. Don't need them here. So take those out, just kind of clean it up. There we go. Got those out. That wasn't so bad. All right, let's go swap out the bulbs. Voila, LEDs. And just to verify, the lights are lit up in the insert, so everything's working. Now, as far as this apron is concerned, I do have, like I mentioned, I've got a new one right over here. It's flattened out, and I got to go cut it all out. And the thing is like all these holes, I need to get them cut exactly right. And um, probably the best way to do that, I've never done it before, but I'm going to probably get a punch that's exactly a good circle. That way, I get a good clean hole that's punched through there, and not anything that's jagged looking. Along through here, I'll probably just have to just carefully scissor cut that one, and probably the whole perimeter. And I will have to go cut all this to get that exactly right. But I'm going to move on to that just a little bit later on. And for now, I'm going to focus just on a lot of stuff here in the playfield. I've already actually replaced the bands here. I end up putting the Titan silicone bands, and the light bulbs that are in here. I know I mentioned earlier about doing incandescents. I've actually got some warm white LEDs that are in here. And I don't know if I can show, I've got the glare from the light above that's kind of throwing us off, but how does that look compared to over here? Um, I know it's really hard to tell. And even if I go kill the lights in the shop, oh, a little hard to really get a good perception of it. And that looks like it's got a hot spot, which it really doesn't. Um, but it does kind of show you that it does light things up a lot more over in this area. I've also got LEDs right here. There's one here and one here, and there was a little metal piece that's kind of like a little reflector. I polished that out to throw a little more light around it. So I'm kind of struggling a little bit between doing incandescents because I like doing incandescents on old games just to kind of preserve that look, and I don't want LEDs to make things look weird. But I'm really leaning towards LEDs on this game. Um, I think it's going to look fine. If you don't have the light shining in your face, LEDs you can get by with that, or you're going to have an advantage of it because you're going to have some better brightness, better illumination. But if you do see the bulb, I'm I'm really a big fan of using incandescents when you can see that bulb. But I think what's going to work out is probably still the warm white LEDs. With that all said, as I work myself around through here, I've also got these targets right here, the little stand-up targets, which notice that didn't score much because I just got the game just turned on. But these targets all need to be replaced, and these are a little different where they don't have a hole and a rivet in the middle. Instead, the plastic went through, and it was just, I guess it's like a hot staking type of process. So we've got new targets that are just like that, but they're made to take a rivet. So we're going to try riveting on those. We've got 4 to do. There's one there, got one that's up in this area, that one, and that one. So we're going to go take care of those and just keep moving forward with getting lights and bands put on and clean up the rest of the playfield. So deal with these targets right here. You got to get up underneath the playfield, and first thing you got to do is go ahead and unsolder this wire here and the whole little wire that's going to here. You got to take these 2 screws out, take it all out. We're going to be drilling out these 2 rivets. And what I don't have is I don't have a big long rivet. I know they make them because that's what's actually here. But what you can replace it with, what I like to do is just take a little small little screw, run it through here, have a knot on the other side. And it's kind of serviceable again in the future if you really need to, which probably never will, I know, but it's another way to go do it. At least it's a way I know that I can do it because I don't have the rivets. So let's go ahead and take this out and give it the treatment. All right, we got this guy out of there. Now let's go put him on the vise and tear into him. Woohoo! All right, so taking it apart so we can put it back the way it was. You got the little bracket here in the back, the actual switch stack. This whole thing is actually the switch stack, really. You've got this one little piece which is giving a little more tension on the back of it, just a little more spring force, and then you got the bracket here in the front. And so all this goes back together. We're gonna replace that, then put it back together, and it should be all good. So again, these targets, they're just plastic that are staked in here. Um, look at this one. It's just loose, just in here. I don't know if I can show it very well, but yeah, there it is. I got to just cut this off. There's a little bracket here in the back that I don't think we're going to need anymore. But we'll end up just using the new ones that I've got. The hole that's through here is a lot bigger than what you need for the rivet. But it looks like the new targets, because they've got these, there's a little couple nubs on the bottom, they actually help hold it in with the bottom part. And I think with the washer in the back, plus the rivet, I think it's going to hold on there fine. But let's go ahead and cut this off and then just get that in position. The front side of it, when you pull this target off, it reveals a lot of nasty stuff. And I like to just go ahead and clean it up. You can see a little bit of it once it's in the game, not really very much, but now it's definitely the time to go ahead and take care of that. So I'm going to use a little bit of this Mothers, and we'll get in here and polish and clean it out. And there we go, much better. Got all the dirt out. So here is the whole target and the new rivet and this whole little piece in the back. Notice how the hole here, since it's a lot larger with the rivet than when it was just staked through. But you got a couple little plastic nub pieces. There's one right here and one there. And that will keep things from kind of rotating around at least. It won't help with this movement, but what I think we can do is go ahead and put this little washer on, and we'll go ahead and put the rivet in place with the little tool that I've got here. Whoops, wrong end. So that end right there, it fits down here really nicely, and it will help flatten that down. One thing you got to make sure, don't get this backwards. This is the the part of that actually makes connection with the switch. So it's part of the switch. So it's real easy to mess that up, get it backwards. Because I have definitely done it. Let's go ahead and hit that in a few times, bringing it down some. We need to take it a little more. Let's see where we're at. Okay, it's starting to tighten up. It's getting pretty tight, pretty close. I might work this in a little more. Looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and just drive it home. Okay, I think we're good. All right, so we've got our target here. There we go in the back. We're going to put it back with the whole rest of the parts that go with this whole switch stack put back together, and let's put it back in. We've got everything soldered back in place, screwed in place, and here we go. It's kind of hard to see it from here, but anyways, that's one down. We got 3 more to go. And now we've got all 4 of them that are all in place. And of course, I haven't replaced the rubber bands that are through here yet. Just the targets. So still got a little ways to go here all through that, but I want to go ahead and show you that we got that part done. So let's go ahead and keep moving on. Get the bands. Let's move back over here. Let's get these bands put back in place. We'll start cleaning things up. Just kind of keep progressing along. One more thing that I figured I would mention. So this is one of the the original targets that came off, and notice a big section at the top has been cut off. Um, I've seen these targets before. I've used these on a lot of them, but never seen one that actually had to have that cut off at the top. And when I put the ones on here on this game, I didn't do anything with cutting those off. As you can see, here it is right here. Yeah, let's get here. That one's a little easier to see. It's completely round. However, look, it's dragging on that plastic. So all we got to do is just trim the top part off, which is exactly what I just did on this one. Since these are already on, it's like, well, what are you going to do? Well, I just took my Dremel, just a little grinding bit, and just went, actually it was more of a disc, one of these, well, more of a stone disc, and just use that to get in here and grind that top part down. I don't have the rubber on this one, but I do have, the post that I can put it back in place, and there's plenty of clearance. And I've actually, this one I've already done as well. Might kind of finish it off just a little bit more. I've got to take care of these 2 here, but I'll do those right when I'm swapping out all of the bands. So we'll just keep moving on ahead. And now they're all done. Look how smooth they're moving. They don't run into anything. Nice and trimmed back. And I didn't overly trim it where, when you're standing back here and playing, you can't tell at all that there's like a big area that's cut down. So I'm pretty happy with that. So let's go ahead and keep moving forward. I'm going to pull these lane guides off, just kind of clean them up a little bit. That one's pretty loose. Wow, I didn't know that. So clean them up. That should be a really easy job to clean up. We'll wipe the playfield down a little bit more, pull these off, put new bands on, and that upper end should be done. We'll polish this guy out a little bit too. One more thing I would mention about these targets. So after I turned the game back on, after cleaning up the rest of those lanes and all those pieces around the top part of the playfield, just want to kind of test things, and I had a problem. And I've already fixed the problem, and I wish I had captured it, the symptom to show it before. But basically, so the scoring motor was just running constantly, which is usually an indication that you got a switch that's stuck. And if I looked here really closely, well, you can't see it right now, but it was just the RBIs that were counting, which the RBIs on this game are scored by hitting those targets, the targets I was just working on. So thinking, oh, okay, it's got to be related to one of those targets. And it was. Had to been a target switch. But I went through, just checking all the gaps on the switches. That wasn't a problem. But I went through here and just one at a time started to disconnect the wire going to a switch. So I took that one off. Here's one up here. Took that one off. And I get over to this one. And when I took that one off, the problem went away. Well, then I had to pull this whole switch bank to the side because it was kind of covering it up. The problem was, and I've already moved it out, but this light, that tab was resting right against that base. So that was shorting out. And now I've created a new short. Now let's push it out of the way. Anyways, got to put these wires back on and put things back together. And look what showed up finally today. We've got, like I said before, hello, just dropping parts all over the place. We've got some side pieces here. We're going to test these. The idea was to replace the ones that are on the side with these. They're fresh and got this different texture to it. However, it's not the same shape. So I don't know. When we take this off, if the paint underneath looks really weird having that off, I don't know that the owner's going to want to keep it that way. But we'll take a look. And also got the red buttons. So we'll test fit those, see if that works out well or not. So parts are coming in. We're making progress. Well, I thought I had it fixed. All right. Well, okay, right here. I've disconnected the wire again. I had it all reconnected, and the tab is not touching anything, but whenever I reconnect this wire, where are you? It just keeps going and going. So there's something actually going on inside the switch itself. So I'm going to take it back apart and figure out what's up. All right, so take a look at the switch. I found out where the problem is. Look at that, look back. Part of that switch is just sitting there resting right on that metal little back support. That's not good. That's where it's shorting out. So I need to just bend that switch and should be good. And that's better. Let's put it back in the game. All right, so we got all the switches on those stand-up targets taken care of. I've got everything kind of cleaned up around the play field, and all the bands have been replaced. Let's hit the lights, or flip them back on. They were off. It's kind of hard to, it's just sort of hard to tell with how everything looks here actually in the camera. But I tell you, it's really looking nice. The all those purple ones, I've actually swapped those out with a pink bulb, believe it or not. Just the pink behind that purple just seems to work a lot better than putting the purple behind the purple, or a white. Just seems to look good. And I do have LEDs everywhere. And where I'm standing right now, I'm not getting any real hot spots or glare um, right on me. So, folks, I think this might be a good stopping point. Uh, Next time we've got there. There were those flipper buttons that I was talking about. We're gonna dive into that. I've got the piece to put on here now. The flippers need to actually still need to be rebuilt and replaced. Even the bats. Still got this apron to do. The pop bumpers, um, and that's just about it. Except other than just some other troubleshooting with some of the quirkiness that the game's still doing. But we're getting a lot closer. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.